Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Taylor, and for today's video I'm going to be going through my February TBR as well as my Blackathon TBR. Now, for those of you who didn't know, February is Black History Month, and this is observed in the United States, the UK, Canada, Ireland, and the Netherlands. Now, I am from the United States, so that is like the history that I know the most of. But in 1976, Black History Month, or African American History Month, was created in the United States, and ever since that year, every single American president has designated the entire month of February as Black History Month. In the United States, it is a celebration of African American history as well as a good time to remember and really focus on the African American story and history in our nation. Fun fact that I actually learned in college: it was first proposed by Black educators from the Black United Students Organization at Kent State University, which is the university that I graduated from, which I think is really cool. So it did start in the university and it spread throughout the United States. As I said before, in other countries, Black History Month is celebrated, and that's just kind of like a brief little history as I know it as an American citizen. The original inspiration for African American History Month in the United States was to really address the criticism that Black history wasn't represented in American schools. It was an opportunity and really a focused period of time to share Black stories and recognize Black figures of historical importance. And that's definitely something that still needs to be continued to this day. So that's why I have decided for the entire month of February, I am going to only be reading stories by people of color. So that's why I was really excited when I did see that Blackathon is going to be a booktube event that is going through the entire of February. This is so important because it does really tie in with the whole concept of Black History Month, because you know, Black stories are traditionally not brought forward and not brought into the light as much as white authors and their contemporaries. So I think it's so important to set aside an entire readathon just to read those Black stories. It is 2019, things are a whole lot better in terms of representation, but it's still not completely there. Especially depending, varied from genre to genre, there's a lot of underrepresentation of Black voices and Black storytelling in books. So when I saw that Jessie from Bow Ties and Books, Francina Simone, and Lauren were all getting together and doing Blackathon, I really thought it was important to join in and really focus my reading for this month on being about Black stories and Black voices and getting Black representation. I'm so excited to be reading these books that I picked out for this challenge. I am going to leave all the information down below. Check out their channels. They have TBRs, they're gonna be vlogging, lots of really cool stuff going on in the month of February. Gonna leave all that stuff down below just in case you want to join in. You totally should. And I'm gonna get into the prompts and what books I'm going to be reading for each prompt. So the first prompt is Feel the Love, and that is read a book any genre featuring a romance between a Black person and another person of color or two Black people. And for that one, I am going with Pride by A.B. Zuboy. This is a Pride and Prejudice remix, and it's told modern day in Brooklyn about a girl named Zuri who grows up in Brooklyn, has a lot of Brooklyn pride. The Darcy family moves in, and you know, if you know Pride and Prejudice, you kind of know the story that goes along with it. So this is just a remix of it. It has Black characters. Just the drawings on the jackets are just gorgeous for this one. And I am very excited to read this one. I don't really read a lot of romance, but I have read Pride and Prejudice. I do love remixes or retellings of stories, so I am really excited to read this one for that first prompt. The second prompt is Wakanda Forever, and that is read a graphic novel or a comic book series with a Black or an African main character. I was really tempted to read a Black Panther comic or something along those lines just because of the prompt and because it is such a good movie, and I have been really wanting to get into superhero comic books. However, I ultimately decided to go with Zodiac Star Force Volume 1, The Power of Astra. This is kind of along the lines of a superhero graphic novel. title, it just looks really bright and fun and exciting. It's about an elite group of teenage girls with magical powers, so it does kind of go along with zodiac signs, and there's lots of representation in this comic book series, so I am excited to read that. It just looks very positive, very upbeat, very inclusive. I'm just really excited to read this one. I did request it from the library. It should get to me before the readathon starts, so fingers crossed that I will get my hands on it because I am looking forward to reading this one so much. The next prompt is Hear Us, and that is read any book or work by a Black or an African author, and for that one I am going with Beloved by Toni Morrison. I've heard so many amazing things about this book. It is definitely one of those classics that I think that you hear about a lot, and I have never gotten a chance to pick it up, and I thought this was the perfect moment to pick this up. So this is a book about a woman named Sethe. She was born a slave. She escaped to Ohio. 18 years later, though, she is still not free, and she has too many memories of Sweet Home, and that is the farm where a ton of tragic and horrible things happened to her, including the death of her baby. Her new home in Ohio is haunted by the ghost of that dead baby, who unfortunately died nameless, and the only thing on its tombstone is a single word, beloved. I know this is a very impactful book for a lot of people, and I am really looking forward to delve into this one. This is definitely going to be a little bit more serious than the other two books that I already mentioned, but I think this is going to be well worth it. This is just, I've heard amazing things about this, and I just can't wait to read what is an important story. And, you know, I think this book is so important because I do know it goes over a lot of themes that, you know, are a part, unfortunately, of the experience of African American history in the United States. So I feel like this is going to be a really impactful read for me this month. Now, this next prompt is very unique for a readathon, and that is Feel the Beat. And there is a selection of 4 different poems that you're supposed to listen to, and you're supposed to share your favorite one on social media or with a friend. You're supposed to discuss the poem and why it matters today. I am planning on vlogging some of this experience, so I am going to go in depth with the poem that, you know, is most impactful to me. So in the Blackathon announcement video from Jessie from Bow Ties and Books, they actually leave a link to each of the 4 different spoken word poems, so definitely go check that out. I am looking forward to listening to them because poetry is not something that I listen to a lot or read a lot, so that is going to be a very different experience for me, and I'm excited to read all of them, or listen to all of them, and then share my favorite with you guys during Blackathon. The next book for the Blackathon is More Than a Color, and that is to read a book starring an intersectional main Black character, and that can be Black and LGBTQ, that can be Black and neurodivergent, Black and disabled. So I actually chose for this one is going to be Hunger, A Memoir of My Body by Roxane Gay, and this one is intersectional because it does deal with Roxane Gay and her eating disorder and her struggles with her body. This is just a memoir of food, weight, self-image, and learning how to feed your hunger while also taking care of yourself. I am a big fan of Roxane Gay. Her essays and her works are so intersectional. They bring up so many different issues. Her last book, Bad Feminist, I actually read this month, and it was really eye-opening to me as someone who considers herself a feminist to kind of read different perspectives and different issues within that movement that, you know, don't really get focused on. I think Roxane Gay, just in all of her writing, does an amazing job of pushing that intersectionality and explaining why all of that is so important. Hunger is something that kind of strikes a chord within me. I'm sure a lot of young women, unfortunately, can relate to it. Unfortunately, you know, eating disorders and disordered eating and body confidence and the lack of is a very important issue in the United States and all over the world, really. I'm really excited to listen to another book by Roxane Gay. I am listening to it via audiobook. That's how I listened to Bad Feminist, which is another one of her books. I'll be talking about it in my January wrap-up. But I just think audiobook is a great medium to listen to her work. Even though she doesn't narrate her audiobooks, I find that the narrator really captures the essence of what she's trying to say and works really well. So I am looking forward to reading that one this month as well. The last challenge is In This Together, and that is to read the group book, which is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book, I've heard so many wonderful things about it from BookTube and the community in the past year. This is a book about a young girl in Harlem, and she uses poetry to kind of discover herself and her identity and work through feeling unheard and work through all of her personal struggles with her identity and feelings of just growing up intersectionally in the city. I have heard the writing on this one is just gorgeous. The cover is gorgeous, and you know, I'm so excited to read a book that is just getting so much praise. And this is one that has been very, very hyped, and I have not heard a single person say it was overhyped. I've not heard a single person who didn't enjoy this one. So I am really excited that this is the group book. It's finally giving me like a chance to sit down, read this one. I am so excited to be getting to this book. And that is all of the challenges in the Blackathon. However, in the spirit of Black History Month, I have decided to just read books by people of color this month. I have been actively trying to diversify my reading and to read books that, you know, are written by people of color, written by people who are different than me, who have different worldviews than me. And so I think, you know, just having a whole month to dedicate to that will really kickstart me into reading these experiences, because I know sometimes without intending to, I definitely read a lot of genres that are very male and very white male focused. Looking at you, horror. So I am excited to delve into some other books. So I do have some other books that I am going to be reading. Kind of, I guess they can all work for Blackathon prompts if you are looking for more book recommendations, but these are just other books that I am reading in the month of February. And so that first one is The Bluest Eye, again by Toni Morrison. And this one is about a girl named Pecola, and she is a young Black girl, and she prays every day to be beautiful, but to be beautiful in the blue-eyed, curly, blonde-haired way that her peers are. So this says that it's a brilliant examination of our obsession with beauty and conformity, and I know that in the United States, the societal norms and the societal beauty standards are very heavily influenced by white people. You know, white women, that's the beauty standard a lot of the times. And we are seeing some trends that come from different nationalities and different cultures be celebrated, but for the longest time, and even still, the celebration of beauty is very, you know, one-dimensional. So I am excited to read this one. I think it's going to be a fantastic representation of, you know, a very real thing that so many people feel in this country when, you know, the standards of beauty don't measure up to how you look or how your peers look. So that's The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. The next book that I am hoping to read is The Good House by Tananarive Due. And Tananarive Due is someone that I've been meaning to pick up for a while. She has been a finalist for the Bram Stoker Award twice, and that is a honor for horror authors and horror writers. This is about a woman named Angela Toussaint and her family, and they live in the Good House. It is a home that belonged to her late grandmother that is so beloved in the community that it is called the Good House by everyone. Unfortunately, there's a tragedy and her son basically dies in the house. Angela leaves this house. 2 years after her son dies, she comes back to confront this house and what she thinks is in it still. And this is described as a thrilling exploration of secrets, lies, and divine inspiration. The Good House will haunt readers long after its chilling conclusion. This just sounds like haunted house horror at its best. So I am very excited to read this one, but that's The Good House by Tananarive Due. And then the last book that I'm hoping to read this month is Dread Nation by Justina Ireland. I'm going to be reading this one on audiobook, and it is about a girl named Jane McKean, and she is born in the midst of the Civil War era, but this is a version of reality where in the American Civil War, the dead rose up after the war. So now the United States is not only dealing with the aftermath of the Civil War and the devastation that that caused, also the devastation of having a zombie invasion. Jane is raised as a zombie hunter. That is a task that young Black women are given because can't have white people fight zombies, you know? It's the first book in a series, so it's kind of the introduction to the world, and it is how Jane is caught in like a middle of a conspiracy and also just fighting her way through this land filled with zombies and trying to find her place in the world and trying to figure out her heritage and where she fits in the grand scheme of things. So I'm very excited to read that one. I love zombie stories, and this just really seems like, no pun intended, intended, but a breath of fresh life into a kind of dead genre. It kind of feels overplayed at times, and a lot of it does seem the same. But I am really excited to check out this one because it does seem to bring some really cool things into the genre. But that is going to be the conclusion of the Blackathon TBR and also just other books that I do want to fit in this month. If you guys are doing the Blackathon, let me know down below because it's gonna be a great month. It's gonna be a really fun time. I wanna know what books you guys are reading. Let me know. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!